We are into the final EWC qualifier. In this video, I'll discuss yesterday's heats, I'll break down all the duos that qualified for finals, I'll talk about everyone that missed out and can no longer make the $1 million LAN, and later on I'll give you my predictions for tomorrow's finals. Let's just get straight into it. We'll start with Heat 1. I will say that this video won't have the usual quality of editing because they've moved the Divisional Cup finals forward, but we'll get straight into it and the usual quality will be back in future videos. Heat 1 was dominated by Shark and Teeny. Everyone expected it and it did happen. They were insane. I mean, just take a look at the amount of kills they got compared to the players below them on the leaderboard. It's genuinely an insane gulf, night and day, and I don't even know. I mean, I'm out of words for how good Shark and Teeny are at reload. They won the first two qualifiers. Other than Peterbot and Poyo, they are the best reload duo in the world by a mile. They are so good. It's literally them and Pete and Poyo that are battling it out. So good on a different level. I mean, Shark and Teeny individually both had more kills than every other duo. So they were out fragging literal teams. It's just ridiculous. And obviously they're already qualified for the LAN event in August, so they can just have fun in these finals. And as you'll see from my predictions later on, they've got a fair bit of territory uncontested on the map. We had Izzy and Nosif finishing second, a very underrated French team. Credit to them. If you've forgotten the format, there's 20 teams in each heat. There are 4 heats, and it's the top 5 duos that qualify for tomorrow's finals. We had Sky and Scroll make it. Of course, they have already qualified for the LAN over in Saudi Arabia. Pradaj and Trexa qualified. Very happy for Pradaj, managing 2 second places in the final 2 games to shoot up the standings. Listen, these guys made the qualifier 2 finals as well. They started that really strong. They did fade away towards the end. Can they do better in these upcoming finals? I'm very interested to see, and this would be a duo that would be incredibly fun and entertaining on the LAN stage. Finally, we had Zarbi and Wolvax sneaking in 5th place. Fair play to them. Now, in terms of the duos that missed, there are quite a few in this heat. I'll just throw up a list on screen now. You can see a ton of big names, the likes of Noah Rayleigh and Reason, a duo that looked really good in the last reload meta with the cube rifle. Twek and Gonzo, the reigning Divisional Cup champions, didn't qualify. No Vanya, no Seti, a lot of big names have completely lost their chance to qualify for the EWC LAN. Now, let's move over to Heat 2. This was a little bit more routine. You'll notice that the top 3 is incredibly strong. It's actually 3 duos that have all already qualified for the LAN in August. We've got Swizzy and Pixie in 1st place. We've got Darm and Deemish, and we've got Yapko and Panzer, so 3 very solid duos. Dexy and Phyto had an excellent end to the tournament to sneak into 4th place. They came 2nd in their final game, so very excited to see what they can do in finals. And spoiler, they are actually going to be uncontested for that. And finally, we had Vidil and Ju make it through. Happy for those guys. They've been performing really well this year. They, of course, made the Summit LAN as well. I have liked what I've seen from them. In terms of the teams that missed out, we had Vico and Malibuka in 6th place, narrowly avoiding the top 5 needed to qualify. Now, again, they have already qualified for the LAN in Saudi Arabia, so the alarm bells don't need to be ringing. This isn't the end of the world, but I do feel like they should have probably made the top 5 in this kind of a lobby. Vico dominated the stats. He had the most damage, the most eliminations, as he often does, but on this instance, it wasn't quite enough for them to get through. Here's a list of some of the other big teams that missed out. As you can see, Chap and Flixie finished in 10th. They have had an absolutely dismal EWC campaign, very much below the standards we'd expect from them. I think if you told most people that they wouldn't be part of the 12 duos going to the LAN from EU at the start of the year, they'd have been pretty shocked because they honestly seemed like a lock. I remember in videos back in January, back in February, I was talking about these guys as potentially the best reload duo from what we'd seen up until that point, and yeah, it's unbelievable how that just hasn't panned out at all. So yeah, I definitely expected a lot more from these guys. Another duo that weren't able to make it was Mr. Savage and Velo, and they of course have had quite a story. They didn't even initially finish inside the top 80, they were in 84th, but they managed to get enough teams banned to qualify for the finals, and they played okay. They did start out a bit slow. They had a 14 elimination win in game 6 to give themselves a chance of qualifying, but unfortunately they couldn't quite get over the line. Big credit to Velo though, he had the 2nd most eliminations in the entire lobby, once again proving that he isn't the weak link in this duo, shutting down all those rumours. I do think both of these players are very equal, and as I keep saying, I do think they should stick. I do believe they have potential. Now, Heat 3 went down in a similar way to Heat 1 in that we had a single duo absolutely dominate heat proceedings, and that was of course Focus and Thomas HD. And spoiler for later, but these guys are an absolute lock to qualify. They have so much quality. Again, just like Shargantini, take a look at the difference in their eliminations between the other players around them. They were so dominant, and even if they play at a fraction of that ability tomorrow in finals, they will easily make it. And as you're about to see from the predictions in just a moment, the situation they're in is almost perfect. So you can 100% expect to see these guys in Saudi Arabia. I do think it's pretty locked. And fair play to them, they're having a great season so far. The Summit LAN was a bit disappointing for them, but they won the first Div Cup of the season. They're looking primed up. I do think it's going to be really easy for them, if I'm honest. We had Syaz and Scary Sean finish in second place, Vexy and Kakpi in third, continuing the trend of underrated Polish teams qualifying for Reload finals. Skyjump and Mumsy in fourth, and they are the big French hopes to qualify for the LAN. And finally, the surprise inclusion of Chucks and Velry. Definitely not a team that I thought would finish that high, but fair play to them. For this heat, I wouldn't say there's any massive misses, but you can see on screen that a couple of big teams did miss out. And finally, over in Heat 4, we had Cringe and Volko qualify in style. I felt like from looking at this lobby, they had to make it through, and they didn't disappoint. Cringe had the most eliminations out of any player in the whole lobby, so fair play to them. They were very solid. We had Rax and Yanis in second place. Again, because of their situation, I really did feel like they had no way of missing out. They split Elite Armory with Robin and Globshi, and that worked out for both teams because they have both made it. As you can see, Robin and Globshi finished in fourth as well. Rax and Yanis have been in great form, and I do believe they have a great shot of making this LAN. Hink and Haris finished in third. They're a duo that haven't really shown that much lately, but fair play to them. They have made it count when it matters. And finally, we had the underrated Danish duo of Hellfire and Winther in fifth place. A fair few big misses in this heat. We had Marius and Wox narrowly missing out in sixth place. They started off pretty poorly. They were hardly getting any eliminations. They did turn that round in the final game, ending with an 18 Elim victory royale, but it just wasn't quite enough in the end for them to get through. We had Pixovsky and Seren in seventh, Pix and Franek in eighth, Chino and Pablo Wingu, the big misses. Now again, they are already qualified for the LAN, so it isn't the end of the world, but for a team of their quality, I'd like to see them doing better, and it does kind of concern me for Reload going forward, in a similar way to how Cami and Hari didn't make heats. They're qualified for the LAN, but you know, I'm not overly impressed with what I'm seeing from them. However, Chino and Pablo, great fragging ability, have shown that they're good at Reload in the past. I do think they could bounce back. Right, now let's get into the predictions. Firstly, as per usual, the map could evolve between now and Sunday afternoon, so my final predictions will be out over on my Twitter at Spudzon just before the tournament starts. But for now, here is my top 8, and there is reason why it's a top 8 and not a top 10. In 8th place, I've gone for Rax and Yanis. Now, these guys are going to be coached by Cami for these finals. They're landing at a different spot. As you can see, they're not going to Elite Armory because that is very much going to be a busy POI. But honestly, taking a look at this map, I do feel like it's basically just going to be a case of if you're a good team and you're on con, you're going to qualify, because if you look at that whole right side of the map, it is so congested. And yes, Reload is one of those game modes where if you're contested, you can do better because the respawn mechanic is in, because you can split these POIs, but nonetheless, I do think a lot of those teams on the left side of the map have a large advantage. So with that being said, I think Rax and Yanis are going to finish in 8th place and qualify for the EWC LAN in August. In 7th place, I've gone for Syaz and Scary Sean. Again, they are uncontested. This would be the 3rd LAN they've qualified for this year if they can make it through. Of course, they went to the Summit LAN. They managed to finish high enough there to qualify for Globals. Now, if they can make EWC, then this will have been an incredible year for the Spanish controller duo. In 6th place, I've gone for Yapko and Panzer, a team that have already qualified. Uncon POI, I think they should be doing well. Similar story with Swizzy and Pixie. They're Uncon in the middle of the map at Chiseled Cubes. They've already made it to the LAN, but I still think they should be performing well. In 4th place, I've gone for Sky and Scroll. Now, it looks like they're splitting Elite Armory with Focus and Thomas HD, which is the team that I'm putting in 3rd place. Now, I think this arrangement suits both of these teams perfectly. Of course, Focus and Thomas are a lock to qualify. If they're splitting a POI, if they're not having to worry about fighting off spawn, and if they show half the quality that they had in their heat, then they can finish high on the leaderboard without even breaking a sweat. And honestly, I feel like it's in Sky and Scroll's interest for Focus and Thomas HD to qualify, because if both of these teams can split Elite Armory at the actual LAN event in Saudi Arabia, that's a pretty favourable situation. They won't have to worry about fighting off spawn. I think that'll be pretty comfortable for them. So, you know, I think it's in both of their interests for them to qualify, so they're both going to finish pretty high. In second place, I've gone for Darm and Deemish. Now, this is the only duo that have qualified for all 4 Reload finals in EU, so their consistency has been great. Of course, they won the most recent qualifier, securing their passage to the LAN, so the pressure is off for them. From what they showed in that last qualifier, bearing in mind it was on the same map as this, I feel like they should be doing incredibly well. They have really impressed me in the past, and I think second is very fair. Of course, I can't put them in first though, because Shark and Teeny are absolute locks to win, by far the best Reload duo in EU, as I've already mentioned. I mean, take a look at how much of an area they've got on this map. They've got the whole of Elite Experiments, all the splits around it, because no team wants to land anywhere near them because they know they're going to get W keyed. The only situation I could see in which Shark and Teeny don't win is if they just have fun, if they decide to W key Grief, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think they will genuinely try and win, and if they do try and win, they will be the favourites, so they are my pick to win the EWC qualifier 4. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with European Fortnite news. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.